Welcome to another episode of the Stampede, where we slap around pigs and make sure they get back to work. I'm your host, Buffalo Prime, and we have a jam-packed episode here filled with plenty of nonsense ahead of us. And in the studio today, I have a guest host as well as co-host of the Hive, Baloney Suntan. How you doing, Baloney?
I'm doing great. How about you, Buffalo?
I am doing fantastic. So, viewers out there, buckle in, say a prayer, and get ready for the ride of your life, because this ship, we ain't stopping. So Baloney here, like I had said, is one of the other hosts of the Hive, along with myself and Jace. Baloney, what can you tell us about what's coming up for the Hive?
Well, we've got our Kingdom Hearts review to look forward to. That should be coming out very shortly. Along with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare coming out in the very near future. We're going to pick that up and do a review of that as well. We've also got some extra hidden gems tucked away. So stay tuned.
It's very exciting times. We got 3 big points we're going to talk about here on the Stampede. First, we're going to stop by and we're going to look at TellTale's Game of Thrones, which is set to release later this year. IGN has published a review of WWE 2K15. We're going to look at that and tell you guys our opinions about that. And Assassin's Creed Unity adds a new feature and a new twist to their game that hopes to set the series apart from previous games. Before we continue and before we dive into all of that, I want to make sure you guys know that this episode, as well as all episodes of the Stampede, are brought to you by The Hive, bringing you game reviews, let's plays, and much more. You know, we're just 3 dudes with a lot of posters and a camera. So check us out today at www.youtube.com/HiveGuys. You can also follow us on Twitter at HiveGuys, and you can follow each of us respectively here on the show. I'm at Buffalo Prime, and you're at Baloney Suntan 24?
24.
Yeah. It's always that number that throws me off. So, well, let's dive right into this. Starting off, TellTale has announced that at some point the rest of this year, which, mind you, there's only 2 months left, Game of Thrones is coming out. And basically, for those of you who either know of the series or don't, the series is going to take place with a character from the North in kind of a new adventure with a new set of characters. It's kind of confusing. We aren't going to go over all the details. But, Baloney, what I want to know from you, as a person who's played TellTale's Walking Dead series, you know, how do you think that's going to look? What are some of the things you key in on?
Well, like you said, I did play the Walking Dead series. I'm still currently playing. They're doing Season 2 now. And I love The Walking Dead. I love TellTale Games Walking Dead. What I really hope to see them do is to just go along with the same aspect that they did the Walking Dead one. The only thing, though, Game of Thrones is a little more split-second thinking, action-packed, reaction time. Playing the Walking Dead version, yes, you have split-second actions that you need to do, but you're mainly dealing with zombies that kind of amble very slowly towards you. There's one part in the game, not to spoil anything, but you got a bunch of zombies coming, you got to shoot them all. They're moving slow enough to where you can actually aim and do it, because it's not a first-person shooter game. It's a third-person roam-around kind of thing. So I'm really curious to see how they do combat in the Game of Thrones version.
You know, with like swords and
right,
archers
with the swords and everything. How are you going to be able to block a sword attack? How are you going to be able to swing it and then counter? And
a lot of those details have been spared from TellTale, who has been keeping the Game of Thrones series fairly under wrap. And even, again, like I said, with only 2 months left, it's interesting that we don't have an actual date yet, just later this year. So we're going to be, I bet you, blindsided by that pretty soon. So let's go ahead and dive right into our next segment here with IGN's review of WWE 2K15. For those of you who want to actually read the review, I'm going to have that link available to you in the comment section, right above the comment section, the description section of YouTube. There we go. We don't comment on our own videos. But basically, we had a review. Let's take a look. IGN has done all of these reviews for our episodes, and I'm just going to go ahead and scroll down here to the person within IGN that actually made that review. It looks like it was by Dave Rudin. Dave mentions that 2K15, although originally boasting improved graphics for the next-gen system, especially with Goldust, Bray Wyatt, and a couple of other NXT fans and NXT wrestlers, in general, the graphics don't look any different than they did the 2 years ago or even beyond that with the graphics and the way that the gameplay actually works out. With a lackluster single-player mode that really only highlights 2 major feuds with Shawn Michaels and Triple H, as well as CM Punk and John Cena. and with a NXT mode that is pretty much lackluster, filled with four characters that not many people really interact with. Basically, the game takes away a lot of things that WWE fans came to enjoy. Now, with 2K14 coming out last year being the first game that 2K has actually integrated with WWE, 2K15 is now their second attempt to try to get it right. So, Baloney, when we looked at the review and what you know about WWE and all the previous games before then, what kind of went wrong, and where does WWE and the 2K partnership, where does that have to go in order for this game to get back on track?
Well, the last game I did play was 2013. That was the last one and I'm sorry, I'm not sure who made it.
We'll look it up while you're talking.
But anyway, they had the Attitude Era mode. They had WrestleMania matches, and it was very THQ.
Yeah, there we go. THQ being the publisher.
Was the publisher. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I feel they did a very good job. They had a big roster size. They had the Attitude Era matches and all this other.
And then 2K14.
2K14. I didn't actually play.
A lot of people seem to enjoy the 30 years of WrestleMania that came out of 2K14.
Right. Everybody likes to see the nostalgia back in time when they were kids watching the show kind of thing. And with 2K15, they took a lot of that stuff out. Like you said, there was only the two real rivalry matches with the Shawn Michaels Triple H, and the John Cena CM Punk feud. I feel that they should add more.
There's a lot more to the WWE universe
than just those two feuds.
Right.
Mind you, they are two of the biggest ones that are out there. If you ask someone about it, then they'll probably know about it if they're fans of WWE. But they need to add more for those other fans.
And one of the other things that 2K15 kind of lacks on when it comes to the problems that the series has faced, not only has it having the smallest roster size of any recent WWE video games, but the problems that were persistent even in WWE 13 and into 2K14 were clunky gameplay mechanics, the reliance on reactions and counters, and just pretty much the unorganized chaos that comes from having 5 or more people in the ring. It's interesting that after all of these feedbacks that they must have gotten from customers, that they're still putting out games that looks the same. I'm
gonna play a little devil's advocate here and say that wrestling matches are a little hard to create in game because they want it to be able to swing one way and then the other like you do in the actual WWE matches. So I feel that when they do rely heavily on reversals or whatever is when you're getting your butt kicked, you got to reverse something so you can pull off a big move and get yourself back on top.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, with the power of next gen graphics and next gen gaming mechanics and the ability that game producers now have when it comes to the PS4, the Xbox One, and then what they've always had with the PC gamers, it's interesting to see the same clunkiness though when it comes to colliding with another player. When you go in to do like a finisher of some sort and grab your opponent, you shift awkwardly and then you do your finisher or things like that. It's just interesting to see that those problems are still persistent. IGN ended the 2K15 review with a 5.9, which is terribly low. And actually, I'd like to see really quick, and I'm going to go ahead and look that up while I'm talking. I'd like to see where their review stood with WWE 2K14. Unfortunately,
I would like to bring up one thing that I feel that they could improve upon.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do like the idea of the NXT mode. Mm-hmm. I don't like how they did it. What I think they should do is have you create your own wrestler, start off in the NXT division, work your way up, win your matches, and then ultimately sign a contract into the WWE. Make that like a story mode. Instead of just highlight matches from 5 guys, 3 of which are already in the WWE. They're not even in NXT anymore.
And tell us what you think at the comment section below about how Can 2K get WWE back on track? Looking up right now, WWE 2K14 received an 8.7 out of 10, going down to a 5.9 with the next game. That is a significant drop. And going back to what you were saying about this, like basically a story mode where you start your guy in NXT and stuff like that, 2K is almost renowned for providing those kind of storylines when it comes to their MLB The Show. You start off in the minor league system. In fact, you go to a showcase, play your baseball player, and you either can get drafted right out of high school, you can go to college and prove your guy even further. You play that same showcase, you get drafted into a team, you work through the minor league system, and you make it to the bigs. NBA 2K15 that recently came out, currently working on a review on that, does a phenomenal storyline. Your character's undrafted. He, works his tail off to get noticed by an NBA team. You interact with other players on your team, the coaches, the fans, the media, and everything like that. With WWE relying so much on drama and so much on interaction with other wrestlers, with the fans and everything like that, having something like that would be probably a huge benefit.
It really makes you wonder why they don't do something like that for these kind of games.
Well, we'll look forward to WWE 2K16, hopefully to fix a lot of the problems that the series is plagued with. All news articles in this broadcast are brought to you by IGN. Most people think that IGN stands for Indian Guru Nobles, which is terribly incorrect, and I'm not sure why people think that. But IGN is actually your one-stop shop for all things gaming. With game reviews, community blogs, and even video reports, IGN brings you everything you'd ever want to know about gaming and so much more. So go ahead and check out www.ign.com today and just have a blast. So the final thing we're going to talk about is Assassin's Creed Unity. Now, before the show, Baloney Suntan and I actually had the ability to watch a video of basically what's boasted as a game changer for Assassin's Creed. And what we saw is whoever the Assassin's Creed Unity character is going to be was sitting there, in the time of the French Revolution, and he heard from, whoever's controlling, basically if you've ever played Assassin's Creed, your character is going back in time to an ancestor and trying to relive basically this giant Templar fight with the assassins or whatever the case may be. And basically you see kind of like a time rupture and you're trying to run away from it. And then the next thing that we had seen in that video was that character in front of a train that was about to run him over, and then suddenly a jet was shooting at him, like pretty modern. So basically it looks like this new Assassin's Creed is not only going to put you in the French Revolution, but it's going to jump you around when it comes to different times. How do you think about that, Baloney?
Very interesting, because a lot of the Assassin's Creed games, and don't get me wrong, I really enjoy them. They're good games to play. They're a lot of fun. They have a strong following. They are very copy-paste, though. To me, it gets boring over time. If you played one Assassin's Creed, you've played them all. With the new multiplayer game modes that they did in Assassin's Creed, 4?
Yeah.
That's good additions and everything, but Assassin's Creed is almost strictly a storyline game. So with something new in the Unity game, with time skips and modern weaponry, and it just adds to the craziness.
Right. Now, one of the things that I think most Assassin's Creed fans can really understand is the sense of like epic action. You get that with Battlefield, you get that with Call of Duty, where there are things that happen that just kind of blow your mind. You're like, holy cow, that plane almost landed, the helicopters that fell out of the sky during the EMP strike, that was crazy and unpredictable. Assassin's Creed, for the most part, in all of the games, has never been unpredictable. And
very copy paste. If you played the one mission, you go listen to this guy. You play another mission, you go kill this guy. You go steal this document.
Yeah. Now, with that trailer that we saw for Unity, I mean, the train almost hit the dude. Mm-hmm. That's an exciting aspect that a lot of other action RPGs have started to follow. So I guess it's a good question would be, do you think maybe Assassin's Creed Unity is kind of changing the course?
I really hope so. Because up until now, I haven't played very many of the Assassin's Creed games for more than a couple hours at a time.
Yeah, the scope of the open world can be a bit intimidating. So Assassin's Creed Unity has a couple of bonus features and things of that nature that hopefully will drag kind of a new perspective into a pretty mundane overall series. So one last thing we're going to talk about really quick is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, which we are going to touch and pick up next week, releasing Tuesday night. And, the Hive is going to do our review on that. One of the things that they just leaked was the fact that there's going to be a new zombies mode, which is interesting because this is the first Call of Duty that Sledgehammer game is solely producing. And for those of you that have kept up on Call of Duty, it's typically been Activision on top with Infinity Ward and Treyarch switching places every year, leading a 2-year development cycle. With Sledgehammer now thrown into the mix, it leaves a 3-year development cycle, which Activision hopes to improve the quality of the game. Still going to come out every year, but with 3-year development, we're hoping to see a lot of vast improvements. But a zombie mode, Sledgehammer's doing, which has primarily been a Treyarch. They're hanging their hat on that. No details have been leaked from this zombie mode yet, but Baloney, from somebody who appreciates the horror genre, you've played a couple of the zombie modes, as well as I in Call of Duty. What needs to happen in the zombies mode for it to really be a standalone, part of the game that people can really enjoy?
I feel it has to be more realistic objectives. In the Black Ops zombie mode, you were going through and building a bus together, driving it to different places.
That was Black Ops 2, yeah.
Well, yeah, Black Ops 2, I'm sorry. And that just, it didn't make a whole lot of sense to why we were going to these places, why we were going here. There was no real...
There was no
realistic
reason.
Goal.
Yeah.
It was pretty much just if you can make it to the end of the road. In the Black Ops 1, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's the one where you go through and you're trying to turn the power on in the house, the mansion place, and start up the generator.
Yes, that was that. And then I believe it was World at War that first introduced Black Ops when you were fortifying yourself and just trying to survive.
Just survive the hordes of zombie. So I think they need to take aspects from all of it. You need to be able to survive the hordes. You need to have a clear goal of what you're doing, and it needs to make sense.
Absolutely. And it's kind of piggyback on what you're saying is, I think the specific reason why I believe you don't play Call of Duty Zombies is that every time you press start on that zombie mode, you get sucked right into the beginning. In the same exact weapon loadout, there is a there is a linear path on how to succeed. Like, okay, get to this point, kill, sitting at this doorway, you're going to be able to shoot zombies, get a bunch of points, buy this gun, go here, unlock this, do that.
Exactly.
What would really, I think, benefit Call of Duty franchise, especially with a zombie mode, is to have, like you said, a storyline with it. Number one, why zombies? Why is that happening?
Yeah.
And why are there zombies here? Especially Nazi zombies. If that happens again, why are they turning into zombies? Second thing is, what is my overall objective? Am I trying to, turn on all these weird things just so I have this super powerful futuristic weapon that doesn't make sense?
Right.
Am I looking for a cure? Am I trying to get to a safe zone? That would be a better, I think, way to go about this than forgettable maps and senseless objectives. So, be interesting to see how Sledgehammer approaches zombie mode with their new Call of Duty series. And thanks again for stopping in and listening to The Stampede. If you have any suggestions on future shows, feel free to leave a comment section below. Something in the comment section below. And one of the features that we're going to be adding to the next episode, in episode 3, we're going to be taking your guys' calls over Skype. So if you would like to be on an episode of The Stampede and talk with us about any issue in gaming world you'd like to talk about, just go ahead and send us an email at hiveguys@gmail.com and let us know why you believe you should be on the show. So thanks again, Buffalo Prime here with Baloney Suntan as the guest host. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us, and we'll check you next time.